Hey, so I kind of been thinking about doing a video like this for a while. Um, where do we get stuff from? And we have to carry all the food that you're going to eat for however long. You look at your guide, look at the maps, and say, well, when's the next town that I can resupply? How far is that? And you have to carry all that food, but water you can get along the way, which sounds great, except that sometimes the water is what it is. Sometimes it's pretty good and sometimes it's not so good. So I'm going to show you where I'm getting my water at currently. So underneath this rock here is a spring. It might just be that this is where a creek or a stream that is above ground further up just pops back out. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they go underground for a little bit and then they pop back up. But mostly you're just hoping that for however long that water's underground, and this water's not very fast flowing, you're hoping that the rocks in the soil kind of filter it and keep it somewhat clean. And it's actually kind of a good thing that you don't see a lot of plants growing in it. That means there's not a lot of biological material, not much nitrogen, not much for any plants or anything to feed on. So you like that, there's not much growing in it. There's nothing really growing in the stream bed. And then, so I didn't do this. Sometimes I do it, sometimes other people do it. When I got here, somebody had already done it. Somebody has done a trick that we all learn to kind of focus the water, because otherwise it would just kind of roll across that log in just a big sheet, and it would just be a series of lots of tiny little drips. So they've focused it a little bit so that you have a little bit of a stream there. But imagine filling a 2-liter bottle with your faucet turned on to pretty much the lowest setting, because that's what that is. So I fill a 2-liter platypus bag. It's this one right here, and you can see that it's already filtered about 1 liter, and it's got just about 1 liter left. And so then the water goes through this Sawyer filter and it goes down. You may be able to see it kind of flowing through this tube, and it ends up down in this clean water bag. And I have a system for knowing which one's the clean bag and which one's the dirty bag, because you never want to put your dirty water in your clean bag, because then your clean bag is forever after contaminated. So the Sawyer filter is really good at taking out any kind of physical or chemical contaminants, dirt particles, leaves, all the way down to microorganisms, down to bacteria. But it's not viruses are even smaller than that, and so it's not fine enough to filter out viruses. So that's when you just kind of roll the dice on. It's not really a big problem. People don't normally get viral infections from drinking out of streams or out of any kind of native water sources. So that's not something we worry an awful lot about. If you do worry about that, then there's a system called Aquamira. It's a chlorine dioxide system that you can use to kill viruses and bacteria in the water. Some people use that, and so they just use that, and they leave the leaves and sticks and whatever's in the water in there. They just fill up their water bottle, put some Aquamira in it, and it kills the bacteria and viruses, and they're good with that. They call it trail seasoning. Some people do both. Some people filter their water and then treat it. And just one of the realities is you're kind of watching over my shoulder how fast this process is. It takes, it took me about 10 minutes just to fill the bag, and now it's another 10 to 15 minutes for it to drain through my filter down into the clean water bag before I can pack everything back up and hit the trail again. So it just eats a lot of time, and you're doing this several times a day. So you make choices, and where are you willing to accept risk? I don't know anybody that's got sick, had a viral illness off of drinking spring water. So I'm willing to kind of accept that the Sawyer doesn't filter out viruses, and that my body, if I do manage to get a particle or two, can fight them off. So I just want to kind of show you guys, here's where it's at. This is, how we make our water and how we get through the day. Normally in the course of a day, I put mine into quart bottles, and I probably go through about 7 quart bottles a day. It's really hot. Today is about 90 degrees, and so I'm drinking water as fast as I pretty much can. I'll drink close to a quart here, and then I'll carry a quart with me, and then in a couple hours I'll go through this whole process all over again. So just want to share that with you. That's where water comes from out here on the trail. Love y'all. Puck out.